accelerated sales and equity. And but
Uh-huh.
that's, people, when they see our accelerated equity, they think me locally, right? Because that's what I do. Yeah, so find your brand. Well, good morning to everybody that came on while we were chatting it up, man. I get excited. Sue's excited. It energizes all of us when somebody's excited. So, man, it's just it sounds so hokey when we say it, but people need what we have, and there couldn't be a better time to be giving it to them, right? And so it takes a lot of patience, especially like with the real estate world, to finally get inside the heads. And you guys hear me say probably every week, they're a different breed. As I say, God created man, woman, and agent. They are set aside with their own challenges, almost like a brainwash thing. But we got to stay on it, because people need what we have. And so anyway, it's good to see you guys all with us today. Karen had sent me a copy of their flyer they used for the Lunch and Learn, and she suggested maybe we might want to talk about flyers at some point. And so that kind of prompted the conversation today. Just so you know, I am recording it as usual, but I'll leave it up to you guys. If you think that this would be beneficial information for other agents out there on or off our team, just let me know. I might put it up on the CFT Facebook site or something and share it. But let's go on and see if I can't find what we need. Get on with it, as I like to say. Okay. Not seeing what I need to see, but let's see if you'll see what we need to see. Y'all see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to talk first of all about mastering the invite. Listen, it's not as easy as it sounds. It's not something that everybody is good at until they work at it, but we need to master that invite to get people to anything, right? No matter the industry, it's true for everybody in every world. If you're sales, and you either master the art of inviting to get people to calls, to meetings, to whatever, or you can never really realize your success, because we're in the people business. So we've got to learn how to attract people, to influence people into our world. So the invite, you want people to view a video, for instance, you're inviting them to hear more. When you want somebody to attend an opportunity, you're inviting them to hear about your business. When you want them to allow you to run their numbers or debt-free report, whatever, you're inviting them to see what's possible for them. And when you want somebody to participate, in the Fast Start program, for instance, you're inviting them to learn and to grow. It's endless. Everything we do as an entrepreneur in this, world is invitation. And so when you see people floundering, they often hear, I can't get anybody to show up. Nobody responds. Nobody listens. There's a reason for that. Okay. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what it takes and how it works. So you start out, with the warm market. Your warm market is generally very forgiving, isn't it? That's why when we need to get into the business, we want to go to the people who love us first, right? Yeah, they know you, they love you, they respect you. They're just much more forgiving. The challenges begin when you reach beyond your warm market, or beyond your comfort zone, or beyond your typical industry, if you will. That's when the challenges come in. So to those people you don't know, how are they responding to your invites? And most of people would tell me it's like crickets, right? So some simple changes can make the biggest difference. So have you ever noticed, everybody knows somebody, at least one somebody in your life like this, how some people throw the best parties, whole town shows up. I mean, they just go about, everybody looks forward to their parties, right? Have you noticed how some people to always have a guest or two for a meeting or opportunity call or a lunch and learn or whatever, how some people routinely have guests for church? This is a don't even get me going on that, right? I love church, but I'm not inviting anybody. So some people routinely do. So if you think that happens just because they're more popular than you are, they're the shining stars, right? You're grossly mistaken. It happens because they're passionate, and it shows. Right now, today, at this very moment, Sue is passionate, and it shows. So we've got to put that passion into whatever we're inviting them to. I mean, I've coached so many people over the years with this, and I'm like, good grief, you couldn't talk me into answering the phone with that, with the way you've approached me, or the way you lack passion, very dry. But I tell you what, if I can do it, you can do it. And so, you guys have heard my story probably, that I used to be absolutely consumed with fear. I was launching a career, and got to a point where public speaking was a necessity. I had a panic attack, meltdown, eventually went to Dale Carnegie. I was so afraid I'd fail Dale Carnegie, I excelled, and then I started teaching. It's kind of crazy, right? But I couldn't speak in front of an audience, and I wouldn't even raise my hand in a classroom in school because somebody might look at me, I conquered that, okay? And you can conquer, because usually it's that lack of understanding of what it takes to excite people and fear that keeps you from doing what you need to do. So I mastered my game. Trust me, you wouldn't even recognize me back then, right? And so if I can do it, you can do it. So you got to master the invitation. So the goal, to get your contact to commit to something, to showing up, right? For a party, for church, for business, for online meeting, whatever, so they can see what you're passionate about. They're responding to their passion, right? They're not responding to all the stuff you tell them about, the MMA or what. That's not what they're responding to. They're responding to your passion. And remember, as Dale Carnegie says, we're not dealing with people of logic, we're dealing with people of emotion. And so it's that passion that says, wait a minute, they don't even realize that their ears perk up because of your passion. So more than just public speaking, though, when I was recruited to be a trainer, we learned voice control. Listen, guys, listen. Sometimes you got to practice and listen to yourself and think, would I excite me? Sometimes you got to get with somebody you know and love and trust, a mentor, whatever, and practice. And voice is something you practice, right? It's not just, even entertainers, my goodness, they're taught voice, control. They have all kinds of lessons, and they learn voice control. So we're taught how to use inflection, right? So it's funny that as time goes on, let's say, for instance, we might do training calls. I'll do training calls with people, and eventually they'll start saying, oh my gosh, you said the same thing in the same way, right? Because I'm practicing that inflection in my voice. We're taught when and where to pause. There's nothing more powerful than that pregnant pause, right? And so we're taught when and where to pause, and we're taught how to put excitement into every training, if you will. These are learned skills. Okay, they are not that natural thing. Oh, I wish I could be like her. I wish I could be like him. When you see it working, these attributes, if you will, working in a business, then you can rest assured it ain't natural. They have learned to do what they do. And so you need to learn it too. So sounding excited is a learned skill. Do you really think that every concert, whoever, pick somebody, that every entertainer feels excited every single time they're on stage? Because you're crazy. They get headaches, they get sad, they get tired, they get whatever. They're not excited every time they're on stage. They've learned to show that excitement. You think every trainer, Tony Robbins, Eric Worre, name any of them, right? They feel great every single event? No, they don't. But they'll still show up because they've learned how to project that excitement. You think every pastor feels good every single Sunday? Dream again. It ain't an easy life anyway, but of course they don't, but they all understand the importance of creating that excitement, because it's their excitement that will get people on board. They know how to do it 100% of the time. So the moral of the story is, you need to learn how to do it, and excuse my French, need to learn to suck it up. You just can't project, oh, woe is me and whatever, because people feel that. They know that it's their excitement, again, that will determine if you buy into whatever it is they're selling, from Jesus to training, right? And to a new album, to anything, right? And so they know that the key is the excitement. So that's number one. Are you excited, and does it show? And so it might just be that you need to learn how to do that. You need that kind of contagious excitement. In Hollywood, for instance, you'll see that, they put out what do you call it? Anyway, they put out a movie to just a select group, that before the movie actually launches in a theater. They bank on that because they know if we can get these people previewing a movie excited, we don't even need to, they're still advertised, but we don't need to, because it's excitement that builds excitement. So it's more than you need all the answers. Come on, we're never going to have all the answers. Heidi doesn't have, nobody has all the answers. It's more education. How much do you need to learn before you just jump into the deep end of the pool? It's more than that. It's more than you need more tools, for success. Well, first I got to do this, and first I got to do that. And people in my world always hear me say, you're just getting ready to do something. You don't need it, right? But more than anything, you need to learn to create contagious excitement. If you aren't excited, or if you don't sound like you're excited, how can you expect them to be? So, I know some people push back and say, well, I just want to be me and I just want to, I don't roll that way. Well, I wish you well, but don't look for success, because until you get this part right, until you can learn to project that excitement so that it is contagious, you can't build the business that most of you dream of building. So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. You've heard that you can't share the wrong thing with the right person or the right thing with the wrong person. That's so true, because again, we're not dealing with people of logic, and people respond to the emotion, right? So when you learn to create contagious excitement, what you say isn't nearly as important as how you say it. Not nearly as important. And you could probably think back maybe in the early stages when you were so excited about this or whatever, that people just responded to it. And then it's kind of humdrum as you go along, and you forget to do what you did in the beginning. And so it's not as important. You will never know everything, and it's never going to be a better time than right now. So it's not what you have to say isn't as important as how you say it. And of course, there's no excuses, right? So it doesn't matter if your personality isn't normally upbeat. Who cares? I don't, a lot of entertainers, for instance, are introverts. I mean, they're just so shy. You guys saw, of course, that I was promoting a revival here. If you know Greg Locke, man, he's animated. He's a crazy man when he's preaching, right? But he is very quiet and very reserved as a human being. And so personality, is not normally upbeat for a lot of people. They've learned to do it. It doesn't matter if your speech is slow or quiet or mundane. It doesn't matter if that's just the way you are, right? If you want to succeed, you need to learn how to influence people into the meetings, the calls, the church, whatever it is you're promoting, right? And the only way to do that is to commit to being good at inviting and to do the work it takes to get there. That's the bottom line. I wish I could, fluff it up a little bit for you, but that's the bottom line. You have no excuses. You've got to do it. Is it fake? Again, some people push back on that. Passion can't be faked, but it can be enhanced by the words you use or don't use. Sue said again, the business has gone from her head to her heart, right? That's something you can't fake one way or the other. If you never get passionate about what we do here, you probably just disappear eventually. But it's enhanced by the words we use and don't use, and by how many of them you insist on using at the wrong time in the process. That's the bottom line. So many people just end up throwing up on people, right? And your passion can be camouflaged by how you speak the words. That's so important. You might be passionate, but you haven't practiced sounding excitement. So first of all, are you genuinely excited? And again, if you're not, believe me, you won't be here in months from now. Okay, because it takes that kind of excitement and passion to drive your entrepreneurial train. So are you excited? If you are generally excited, does it show? That's something you might have to have some coaching on. You might have to go to a mentor, your friends, your family. Does it show? Do you sound excited? Can they hear it in your voice when you're on the phone with them? Can they hear it in your voice when you're talking to them? Is it your voice? Is it your inflection? Is it your pace? Anybody can learn to sound more excited, is my point. Okay. And if you want to influence people into your world, you got to get them excited. It's people of emotion, right? And then urgency. How can you expect to compel somebody to do something right now if your message doesn't sound urgent? And again, when you sound excited, it creates an urgency, right? Or, there's always another time or opportunity. One thing that I just have, if you guys have worked with me, you'll know that I'll do calls, like maybe I do the real estate call or what God has to say about money. And I'm not doing it same day of the week. I will never do that, because when you do that, there's always another time. So people never know when those calls are coming. I think it's a big mistake. But your clients or your potential clients or your potential agents, they don't know that there's an opportunity call every Thursday or whatever. So you don't ever tell them that. You can never let them know there's another time or opportunity, because there's no time like the presence, right? So you should present your meeting as if it's the best, most incredible opportunity they'll ever have to attend. You can't afford to miss it. It's the best, right? So don't make the mistake of, well, we'll do it again Thursday. Well, we'll do it again. And just say, well, I'll hit you up again, or try a different angle, or how about we go online together and we'll watch it together, the replay of it or whatever. Don't ever think, because if you give people, that opportunity, they're always going to take it. One of the things that You've seen in a hot market now, and of course one, 10 so years ago. But in the auction world, that's the urgency that made it all work, right? No, we're selling this house on Saturday at 2 p.m. If you want it, you better show up. And so in the hot market, that's what they saw, right? Oh my gosh, got to write a contract, escalation clauses, right? So it's all the limited opportunity. The opportunity is right now. And so unless you're in a world like that, you got to create that kind of urgency. And it really all comes down to you. Edification builds excitement, whether you're inviting them to an opportunity call, or maybe you're going to get on with a CFT. Edification builds that excitement. Man, this person, you can't miss this. I can't believe we have a chance to have him speak, and you need to build it up from church to that party host to a business meeting. So if you aren't edifying people, your pastor, the hostess, your associate in our business, you're the one to lose. Okay. So I don't know why people have trouble with that. I don't know if it's their, I don't know, they push back, they're jealous, or I don't know what it is, but you better learn to edify right now. So one of two reasons you don't, or you don't know how to, right? Your ego is in the way of edifying somebody else, or you don't understand the importance of it. So you should be building up whoever that is. If you're inviting people to your lunch and learns, whoever it is. Oh my gosh, we have the most powerful team in the industry. This is such an incredible, I can't even believe they all agreed to speak. You got to do things like that to be able to get people excited about taking advantage. Mistake number one is assuming people need all the details in order to get them interested in showing up. That is not the truth. You think about having that party host, right? You think that party host has to tell them the menu, oh, here are the hors d'oeuvres, and here's the main menu, and here's the wine. You think they have to? No, they don't. People can't wait because that person got them excited. And so what people need is to sense your passion about what you have to share. So if you're not passionate, why would you expect them to be? I mean, seriously, if you don't sound like it, if you don't look like it, why in the world would you expect them to get on fire when they can't see your fire? And so it's that, that mistake number one is assuming that. Mistake number two is telling them that you want to educate them. When you say you want to educate them, then they say, you think I'm stupid. Okay, you got to spin it a different way. And so think about that right off the bat. You might be insulting them. Oh, we're all about education. Well, thanks, I'm smart, I'm old, I've made money, I don't need it, right? And so instead, you want to share with them. You want to enlighten them, empower them, add to their arsenal, whatever it is. But whatever you do, don't say, well, it's educational. They don't think they need education. So you got to kind of come in the back door with excitement to get them there. And then you sell the possibilities and you sell the passion. So don't put them on the defensive, guys. Do they need education? You better believe it. I wish I had this education in my 20s, right? So do they need it? Yep, they do. But, don't put them on the defensive, and don't expect busy people to find the time to be taught before they see the value. You're dealing with it all the time. People blowing you off, people not showing up. All the time you deal with that, right? I'm busy, my schedule, house, they give you every excuse on the planet. Well, you know what? When they see the urgency and they sense the passion, they stink and find the time. They'd be the ones that calling you saying, you know what? I am so sorry. I can't make it. Let's get another date. Because you've excited them, right? The passion is there. So you don't have to chase them around like a hungry dog when you get their attention that way. Mistake number three, overlooking the rare in the opportunity. Again, when you frame the invite, it's important that you master it. This is rare. And I can't believe this guy is speaking. This guy is like, you've never heard of him before? You got to structure it so like, this is so rare. Well, who would be compelled to show up when you want them to show up if it has no sizzle? Why would anybody? Come on, everybody's too busy for that. So it's got to have some sizzle. It might come down to you, the way you're invited, your voice, your inflection, and come down to that edification thing where you put you're painting a rare opportunity picture. If it doesn't have sizzle, don't you dare be disappointed that nobody shows up, because it's coming down to you, not them, right? So if there's another day or time and you let them know it, once again, why would they commit to right now? Everybody on the planet thinks they're too busy, right? Until they see the value. So if you ever give them that, we'll do another lunch and learn next week. No, you don't want to do that. You've got to make it look a little bit more, more of an opportunity. Even though you have access to another meeting, another time, don't let them know it up front, and stop saying we have a meeting every month. We already covered that, for instance, and market to that rare opportunity only, and don't open the door to anything else unless you have to, right? You keep it right there. When you're doing a lunch and learn, you don't want to think yourself, Oh, we'll have another one in 2 weeks. I'll invite more. No, you need to go after it like a hungry dog and do these things to get people to that one. Be excited about what's before you, not what's down the line. And then tips, be excited, confident, and show enthusiasm 100% of the time. Remember, you have something life-changing to share. Again, if you don't think that, if you're just like looking at, well, it's cool and I need the money, I'm sorry to be so bold, but you can't succeed that way, right? It's life-changing, and it's that fact that you have something that people need is what keeps you from tucking your tail between your legs and saying, well, I wonder if they'll listen to me. It's what fires you up, right? Same as it is with my faith. I know what I got, and I want you to have it too. And so it's life-changing, right? It's eternity. And so they've sensed that in me. You need to sound like it, you need to speak like it, and you need to invite like it. So a lot of times people are relying solely on social media. I'm not a social media gal. I work it all the time, but you don't rely on that because it's so hit and miss, right? You still need to rely on the personal thing. So you need to believe you're offering a solution to a problem, not hustling a sale. They say, and it's true, the worst salespeople are broke salespeople, right? Because they're trying to hustle a sale to make the money. But you're not hustling for a sale. You're sharing something of so much value. It's crazy. So remind yourself and don't let yourself forget. And always be in a hurry. Listen, if you got all the time in the world to, sit back, chit chat, whatever, you don't look like you're successful. So you always have to be in a hurry. Hey, I only have a minute, but there's something I want to share with you right away. I don't want to miss a chance. I only have a minute on the right. I've got another meeting. You've got to always do that. I don't care if you're comfortable with it or not. Because if you're like, oh yeah, call me anytime, I'm glad to talk. You don't look like a busy, successful entrepreneur that has something so excited everybody wants. You don't look like it. And so you've always got to do that. Refrain from just jumping on something, right? Pay them sincere compliments. Oh my goodness, I hate it when people make up stuff. Think about it, how many times we've had people say, oh, nice shoes, because somewhere along the line, somebody said, pay them a compliment like nice shoes. So listen, you got to be able to be interested enough in them to have something good to say. So you might say, I thought of you because I know you're a good steward of your money. I know you like to be on the cutting edge. I respect your opinion. I know you're an accomplished business person. I know you're a top producing real estate. There's no end to it, right? But you always want to give them a sincere something, because you know what? When you do, they start listening, right? I know you're busy. I know you're good. I know you're successful. I need your help. When you do that, they listen. And so it's very important to do that complimenting thing. Then less is best. Don't shove algorithms down their throats. Keep their curiosity up. It sounds ridiculous. Well, we do mention algorithms, don't get me wrong, but don't just hammer and hammer and hammer and hammer that. It's so much more. They can't see the value of an algorithm necessarily. They'll see the value of the results of the algorithms, right? So keep their curiosity up. And don't share information until they say they're open to hearing it. So, keep building the relationship. We see that a lot. When you listen, for instance, to Steve Croft talk about, if I send you videos, will you watch them? I guarantee you, probably, I don't know, half of you on the call don't say that. If I do this, will you do that? You're asking for a commitment. That's what business looks like, right? You don't just say, I'm going to send you when you get a minute. No, that's not what business looks like. And so that's what we do. If I send that, will you watch it? I go a step further. When will you watch it? You seem to have a few minutes now. Can you watch it right now? I try to get a time, because then I'm going to circle with the follow-up and say, even though I can see they didn't watch it, right? I'm still going to circle back and say, what'd you like best about it? I'm going to make them tell me that they did not do what they said they were going to do. That's what business looks like, folks. We let people off the hook because we don't frame it as business. We frame it too much as, a friendly little something, right? But we don't see that in real estate or insurance or in the mortgage industry. We're friendly people, but this is business. And when you make a commitment, you keep it, right? And so you kind of have to frame it that way. And so you don't need to, open anything up. No, I don't think I'll watch the videos. No, this, whatever. Listen, keep building the relationship. Don't keep shoving stuff down the throat. Just keep building the relationship. If you have something like a newsletter or an email campaign you do, you might say, well, would you mind if I just keep feeding you information, so that, maybe at some point you will want to hear more. Most people won't say, don't send me stuff. They'll just, be nice and say, sure. Build the relationship, build the relationship. And so unless somebody says, tells you, no, absolutely never, I'll die before I'll do that, it's never a no. And so it's always about building the relationship and building the value. And again, they're going to get there if you stay excited and you stay in the game. So it's already scripted for us, right? You shouldn't be trying to reinvent the wheel. Use what's already working and just add that contagious excitement to it. So you could practice, using our scripts and with a friend or a mentor or somebody will tell you the truth, right? Practice, record yourself and think, when I answer the phone, use a proven script and just go over it and over it and over it and over it. And yeah, you can, interject some of yourself in there, but you don't want to add, time to it or whatever, practice. And when I say interject, what I mean is, like, I never like saying being out of debt in as little as. I say in a fraction of the time. And when I say fraction, listen, fraction means different things, different people, right? And most people, when they hear fraction, they think small, right? But I just say fraction with excitement, and that's what gets their attention. So use that script, practice it, put yourself into it here and there. Practice smiling when you speak. Listen, that's still true, the same as it was 30 years ago. People can tell, when you're online, of course, you need to be smiling. When you're on the phone, they need to hear you being smiling and excited. So, and practice using inflection in your voice. You might go over the script, in a fraction of, you hear that? I'm just putting inflection into it, right? I'm saying the same words, but practice it and record yourself and get better, and practice asking questions and shutting up. So many of us, one bad thing about, getting all this knowledge is you think you're busy saying what you think they need to hear instead of what they do need to hear, right? You want to say it because you know it. I want to educate them. I want to tell them, because you know it. Well, it takes self-discipline. Shut up, right? And the power is in the shutting up. And so you need to learn to ask questions, and then no matter how long it takes, wait for the answer instead of trying to fill in the void with all this stuff they don't need to hear because the value's not there yet. And once you've mastered these things, then all you do is lather, rinse, repeat. You just do it over and over and over and over and over. And as time goes on, you'll change it a little bit, your inflection here and there. Maybe you'll add a little bit more of yourself here and there. But the bottom line is, this is what you need to do. And so I know some of you are probably saying, that's ridiculous. I've never done that before. Well, I would ask you, in an industry like this, how successful have you been before? It always comes down to excitement. And no, it can't be, something that you fake. You got to actually feel it. So how simple can it be? If I could show you a way to pay off all your debts, mortgage, I just say, that means everything, by the way, including your mortgage, in as little as 1/3 to 1/2 the time. I don't do that. I told you, I say it a fraction of the time, without refinancing, without, restructuring your loans, or without changing your budget, lifestyle. I usually say, without having to eat beans and rice and canceling date night. I'm trying to let them know there's no suffering in it, right? Would you give me 20 or 30 minutes? So, add in some contagious excitement, and you can master that game in no time at all. Take what we have. Again, you don't want to add to it, make it longer, but you can change it a little bit, like I do. Instead of, eating beans and rice and cancel date night, I do that kind of thing, but I have humor too. I can get by with it. It was Cynthia that said to me last night, we were going over the GPS, and I was telling her how when I go through it, I'll pick the opportune time to say, it's a no-brainer. I'm setting them up for, it's a no-brainer. Steve Croft does it a little different way. What if I could save you, 10 years and 100 grand? He does it a little bit different. I don't usually do that until I get right down to the wire, but I'm like, I told you it was a no-brainer when they see the results, right? So you put your own personality into it, is what I'm saying. So add something contagious and excitement. And how do you do that? You practice, 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 practice. I've told you, and I will always use, by the way, my greatest success period of my life is the auction world. And it got so busy. We didn't have Zoom working then, right? And I couldn't possibly auction. My mainstay was the Mid-Atlantic or nationwide if I visited all these people. And so I got used to, selling my services over the phone, and I would do it over and over. First few times, of course, I flubbed it. Then I realized what I should have said and what I shouldn't have said. And then I practiced and practiced. I don't know. To get 5,000 properties to closing, I don't know how many people I talked to, 10,000, 15, I don't know. But I do know this, it was almost like listening to a recording, because I said the same thing, inflection, the same way. And you know what? I mastered my game. It's not because I'm special. It's because I did it over and over and over. I've lather, rinse, repeated, understanding the fundamentals. They better feel it in my voice over the phone. or they'll never succeed. So then there's power in the takeaway, right? You don't beg people to listen to you. This is business. You think an attorney begs you, you came in for a consult, and you don't use them, you think they come begging you? And don't beg people to attend. If it's got value, they should, and you've sold the value, they should want to. So just take it away and say, I wish I don't know if Cynthia's on the call, but she had a realtor, playing some games with her. And I said, I don't know, I'd take the high road and just say, well, eventually some of your clients are going to call me. So, I'll let you know when they do, when I help them. I just kind of take it away, take it away, take it away. You didn't see the value. Ooh, you're basically saying, well, that's shame on you. You lose, but you don't say it that way, right? Take it away. Let them know that there is a limited whatever, limited time, limited opportunity, limited this. And that's what I was doing with well, we are going to eventually hear from some of your clients. So, I'll be happy to help them when we do. So it's limited. It's limited. You better learn now, realtor, or you're going to get left in the dust. That's what I was saying, right? And you'll let people know if you're inviting, for instance, maybe to an opportunity call or to the lunch and learns. You might say, listen, it's limited. So please, if you're not committed to coming, please let me know, because I'd hate for somebody else not to be able to come when you said you would and didn't. And so you just it's business, folks. You got to remember that. So what if you create contagious excitement? They'll think twice when you take it away, right? They'll think twice when you're so excited. It's almost like saying without saying it, that you do not want to miss this. You're a fool if you miss this, right? That's what they're feeling inside when they feel the contagion, and you take it away. Just take it away. There's power in the takeaway. And the fortune is always in the follow-up. So you created urgency, you succeeded in sharing that excitement. The next step is to follow up. So you pick the phone up, whether they showed or they didn't, right? You can't create or keep excitement going with a text, so knock it off. You can't do it. It's got a great purpose in life. I love that we have text, but too many people are hiding behind their fear, and they're using text as a crutch. You can't do it. I don't care how many bold letters you put or how many exclamations. So you need to pick the phone up. You call them to say you're excited to see them or whatever it is, right? If you edified your speaker, tell them, for instance, I told Tom Keener about you. He's so excited to meet you tonight. I told him about you. You kind of make them feel bad if they don't show up, right? Oh my gosh, this guy's a national leader. You can't believe it. I told him about you and he's so excited to meet you. You need to add some excitement, right? In other words, assume they'll do what they said they're going to do. That's the high road I always take. Like with the videos I told you, I can see they didn't watch them. I don't care. They told me they were going to watch them. I call them, would you like that? So I didn't watch them. I make them say they didn't do what they said they're going to do. And so, you add that to it. Don't let them off the hook and make it hard to cancel. Again, if you say Tom Keener's excited or whoever, whatever it is, when you say, Rick is excited, you have no idea what an opportunity this. I told him about you. He can't wait to meet you. You put a little pressure on them to do what they said they're going to do. And it takes contagious excitement to keep that ball rolling. Make it very hard to back out. Just keep that ball rolling. Oh man, I can't believe you missed that. Then you might need to switch it up, because again, if it's a lunch and learn, maybe you had an opportunity with Rick to be there 2 weeks in a row or something. Then you might just say, you know what, that thing's so crazy busy, he's staying in town to do it again. So you just kind of create the environment again without saying, oh yeah, they'll be next week. Oh yeah, he'll be back. No, you can't afford to miss this thing. And so that's what you're doing to keep the ball rolling. And learn to gauge your audience. So you invite and they say they no show. Okay, whatever. There's a newsflash. When and if they say that sounds good to attending a meeting, that's not a commitment. They're probably not going. That sounds good means nothing. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. It means nothing. They're blowing you off. You got to learn that, right? If they say, I'll try to make it, that's not a commitment. And so you need to create urgency to build the excitement. You just imagine if let's say you had a doctor's appointment, right? And they said, well, will Monday at 3 work? And you say, well, I'll try to make it. You go to get a bill if you don't show up. The same thing with doctors. I mean, guys, why is any industry superior to you? You're in business. You need to act like it. You need to respond like it. And so you need to understand, well, that sounds good. I can't tell you how many times I've said that to people trying to bug me into something, right? That sounds good, or I'll try to make it, or if I can. That's not a commitment. Doctors wouldn't put up with it. Lawyers wouldn't real estate agents wouldn't put up with it. You shouldn't put up with it. So you need to create urgency, build excitement, and you need to, get a commitment, a business-like commitment. when prospecting for a new UFAs, your transition questions might be a little bit different, but you might say, let me ask you that crazy question they talk about, right? How has the current economy changed the way you handle your finances? How you doing? Do you keep your options open for additional streams, which is one I hate because it's so MLM? Are you open to make it a significant part-time income if it doesn't conflict with what you're already doing? I work with the national companies absolutely exploding. It's blowing up. I'm in charge of expansion in my area, and I'm always looking for talented individuals. Doesn't that sound great? That sounds better than I'm an MLM and I want more people. Come on. Is this your dream job, or are you open to other things? Do you have dreams for a different career? Do you like working in a position that helps people? Are you motivated to help? Do you have that kind of heart? Are you doing that now in your current job? Are you open to hearing about a business that can positively impact virtually every person in America in saving money, eliminating debt, and I've actually added building wealth to that so they can build wealth. And so there are all kinds of things you can start with, but never ever invite excuses. So again, people are already full of excuses. I am, you are, the world is. So don't help them along. Again, in business, that doesn't fly. So don't say, do you have time? I might say, am I catching you at a bad time? But I don't say, do you have? Nobody's ever got time. If they know you're calling to get them into something, they never have time. And you might say, I know you're busy. If you can clear your plate, call me when you're ready. I mean, you can't do that. Does your doctor say that? Well, I know you're busy. So, when you get some time, come and see me so I can diagnose your disease, right? They don't do that. Lawyers don't do that. Realtors don't do that. So when you've got an exciting message, opportunity, time is always of the essence. You have to talk like it, speak like it. You got to frame it like it. The time is of the essence, and you need to sound like it all the time, no matter if it's watching videos or showing up at a lunch and learn. And never forget, again, here we are with Dale Carnegie. When dealing with people, let us remember we are not dealing with creatures of logic. We're dealing with creatures of emotion, creatures bristling with prejudices and motivated by pride and vanity. You probably ought to get that quote, print it out, stick it on your desk or whatever, because we have a tendency to always go back to the logic. It's never, ever, ever about logic. So you need to hit that emotional trigger. That's the key to success, is the emotional trigger in order to succeed. So stop throwing logic out there and build that contagious excitement. That's the way it works. And so I'm going to pause right there before I go on and with other things here. Let me find my screen so I can stop sharing my screen and just see if you guys have any questions, comments, anything on that part, because we're going to go into flyers next. Anything at all on that?
I love it. I think it was great.
Good. Thank you, Dale. Reminders for some people and new for others. Anybody?
I noticed that.
Fantastic.
Go ahead.
Charles, you're up. I'm going to pick somebody.
Okay. Yes, I've been kind of multitasking a little bit here while you were talking, but every time it seems that you're hitting the nail right on the head. And we are sometimes guilty of going so direct at people. One, we forget to edify who we want to introduce to them. And then second, we come off as if we are doing it for a selfish reason.
That's right.
We're not asking enough questions. We're not getting involved in what their why might be.
Right.
And until we identify some things about them, I think we're not even 50-50 shy of getting their business.
Oh, I agree.
So this is just a real timely web session today. I really enjoy what I said, I can smell what Lynn's putting down. Just like the rock. It's good. It's good.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, we just forget, right? And I deal with this, I have for years, again, in my faith with church, what are you going to do? I mean, unless you say, oh my gosh, we are so blessed to have the most amazing pastor. I am learning so much from this guy, or, oh my gosh, this series, I've wanted to learn about this for years. I don't want you to miss it. I've been waiting for years. You got to be there, right? But people don't do that. They don't invite. They might say, do you have a church? Or, yeah, yes, no. Okay, great. So nice to, who wants to do anything if you're not excited? I certainly don't. I'm pretty animated and excited anyway. So you better rev up the heat a little bit if you're going to get me excited. But the timing is right, I think, Charles. And I'm so grateful that, Anna recommended we do some of this. And then Karen, of course, said, will you look at the flyer? Let's look at this. And I thought we need to repeat this. And so I'm so glad that you got something out of it today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Anybody else before we,
Yeah, would you put that last slide up so I can grab a screenshot? I wasn't quick enough.
sure.
Thanks.
Well, that's okay, because I can also send it to you, so. Yeah.
Oh.
Guys, you know, listen, I'm here. I am making, I'm not making this, I am very, very busy, okay? I have three worlds. I have my world of faith, that's first and foremost for me, right? Then, of course, I have my family, then I have the business. So what I'm getting at is, if I fail to send you the recording or the slides, don't hesitate to bug me, okay? It's probably just a legitimate oversight, and it won't take me but 5 minutes to do it. So anytime like this, if you found the slides helpful, you want the PowerPoint or whatever, or you know, or if I didn't send the recording so you can share with your team, you know, let me know.
I think this was really informative, Lynn. It kind of really reminds us,
Right.
you know, to take a look at that and really be aware. And it's like Charles was saying a couple of minutes ago, you know, our primary focus has to be on them. We've got to find out from them what they're looking for. If we're just concerned about the sale, we're dead in the water.
That's
We
right.
don't know what kind of fish we're hunting for. We don't know where we're trying to find, you know, I mean, we're basically running out to, you know, a 6-foot pond and throwing 3 sticks of dynamite in there and hoping there's a big enough fish that's going to
Right.
come to the top. Well,
That's
it's
good.
not, it's not going to happen.
That's right.
You know,
That's right. It's
that-
not.
it's not going to happen. And all we're going to do is just make a bigger hole, you know, in the ground. So we really have to put all our own crap, if you will, aside.
Yep.
And let that go. Forget about making the sale. Forget about, you know, what it means for us. Forget about how it's going to expand the team. Forget about all that junk and focus on what do they need? What are they looking for? What's going to be the biggest benefit for them, period.
Right.
And if we get that, the rest rolls into place automatically. And then we're not fighting the system. We're using the system. We're using the training. We're using all of that stuff to really get people's attention. And you're getting their attention because you're listening to what they're telling you, not, and you say it 100,000 times. There's us trying to tell them what we think they need to know. And then there's shut your mouth, open both ears, and listen to what they're either asking about,
Right.
or that they're talking about, or that they're mentioning. Because if we're really listening, we're going to hear the hurt, the pain, the suffering, all that's going to come through. And I don't care if the guy's making $20,000 a year or the guy's making $6 million a year. They're just broke at a different level.
No, it's so true. You hit it right on target. You betcha. Yeah, because, you know, listen, we do have something. This program is good for everybody. Whether they dream of buying a house, they only have student loan debt, they got a boatload of debt, they're in business. It doesn't matter. We just have to find out, you know, find the need, and then we can fill it. But we start filling it up, don't know the need, and we blow the opportunity. And I think Charles was very, you know, favorable when he said 50-50 shot of no, it's less than that. You know, you got to find a need and fill it. But the biggest mistake, and that's what you were hitting on, Michael, is that we have a tendency to say what we need to say. I need to be heard. I know all this stuff, and I need to say it instead of what they need to hear. And so we need to find out, what do they need to hear? And once they do, we find the need, we fill it, right? And so it really isn't that difficult. It's just getting the attention first. Are you excited? You know, and do you care enough to shut up and ask questions and shut up and look for the answers? Because really, our program, seriously, isn't just for people to get out of debt. It's for people to build the wealth. It's people to plan to get their home. It's for everything. And we forget that, right? So we just talk to one thing like a parrot. So anyway, you're right, absolutely right. Anybody else with this before we go on to the flyer thing?
Yes,
Yes,
I have.
I'll just add one thing.
Okay. There were two of you. Now there's none of you. Who was talking?
There, well, it's Anna.
Okay.
Akio. Thank you for the session. It was excellent. I just want to point out to something that you said. Okay, skill, to acquire a skill. Okay, and much of what is needed to be done here by all of us really is to acquire the skill of the art of listening to
Yes.
people.
Right.
And I cannot overemphasize, the school of Dale Carnegie. If you guys just, consider please to go and find the book that might be in your personal library and you read it a long time ago, go and dust it off and pick it up again, because that's exactly what that book, How to Win Friends and Influence Them, is all about, is this skill set on the art of listening. So please consider it. And if you don't have it, go get it.
That's so true. It's a valuable thing. So much more. When I was promoting the classes and they first launched, I would say Dale Carnegie to digital, right? Because I was taking that into the digital world. But I just touched the outer edges of the whole story of how to win friends and influence people, and so you do need to do that. It doesn't matter where you go. I mean, certain people are born with certain personalities and stuff, but so many people, they're not born with that. They have to learn that. They have to practice it. And me included. Okay. What I've done, I put a lot of work into that, a lot of work, understanding that, because it made sense to me. If I don't sound excited, if I don't have inflection, they're going to go to sleep. Right. And so it made sense to me, and I practiced it and I learned it. So if I can, the scaredy cat that couldn't even talk in front of a crowd, if I could master it, you can master it. It's just accepting that this skill set needs to be developed. If you want to succeed, it's got to be developed, bottom line. And so as entrepreneurs, you can't go without it, right? So who else was there? Thank you, Anna. Somebody else was trying to talk when Anna was trying to talk. Who was that?
I was just going to say, Lynn, can you hear me? Can you hear, Lynn?
Yes, you're breaking up a little bit. Go ahead.
I'm in a place that has very bad reception. I was just going to say the times that we all can look back on people that are really busy business people. We can sense it in their voice. They're listening very carefully to what we're saying, because they're trying to get to the bottom of what it is they can do together in business. And it's like when you're smiling and talking on the phone, we know that comes through. And the same thing is true about that emphatic, I'm working, I'm busy, I'm on this. What are we going to do together? How are we going to get this done? Okay, what's our next move? And there's something about that pace and that importance that you're putting on this moment and this conversation that I think is what you're driving. And it is something that now I've got an image in my mind, and I can reflect back on the people and the times that I have had that kind of go, that I think is where you're driving. And that's really helpful.
Good. I'm so glad. Yes, it is. And that's the way business rolls. Some people have never been in business. This is their first time, or maybe they've been in other businesses similar and they've never developed this kind of thing, right? It's foreign to some people. But again, if you have this perception that you're successful and you want them to be, and you're the expert, you got to be busy. Okay. Now, I used to get on people all the time. They would say, well, I'm going to meet somebody for coffee. And I call them, how'd it go? And they were there for, oh, it was great. We were there for 3 hours. I'm like, what? You there for 3 hours? How can a successful, accomplished, entrepreneur have 3 hours out of the blue just to throw down the toilet? It doesn't happen. And so you've got to give that perception without saying it, that, boy, you know what? You are so blessed. I'm telling you about what I got, right? You've got to do that.
Exactly. That was good. That's very, very good.
Good. I'm so glad. Okay, thank you. Anybody else with anything before we go? So we're just going to break down flyers just very briefly. as best we can, because some of you doing the lunch and learns, or maybe you have a digital flyer you are going to use for social media or whatever. There are some tips that we all need to follow. Okay. And so we'll go into that and see if I can't help you. First of all, whatever it is you're doing, you need a clear, concise goal or purpose. We often try to squeeze too much stuff onto a flyer. So you need to look at, what is my ultimate purpose? What is the main message of this flyer? So try focusing on just that one aspect you want to promote, whether it's to sell the product or invite, people in as agents or whatever. You've got to figure out first and foremost, you need to know what your main message is, or you can't possibly get it on a flyer and have it work for somebody else. And you need a popping headline. Man, this is so true in digital marketing. Like when we send out emails, y'all aren't seeing it because I'm not marketing to you. But when I send out emails, or I have an email, pipeline that's going on. It could be, 8 weeks of emails. They're popping headlines, just hoping at one point they're going to grab on, right? So if you established your purpose for your flyer, the main message, then you need to create that headline. And you know what? Play with it. Get ideas for it. Ask friends not in the business. Would this get your attention, kind of thing? Because it's the most likely the first thing that's going to pop for the reader. And it's so important that if that pops, they might read some more. And so it's got to be compelling, popping. Think about sales flyers you've seen. And you need an overall motivating message. Again, something's going to try to get that emotional trigger somewhere, right? Now, this is your call to action line, right? A call to action is that message that makes that reader want to move forward, want to be at the luncheon, want to take on the call, whatever it is, right? Otherwise, it's going to be useless to the reader, has no purpose at all, except, cost you money. So call to action words like, buy now, call today, contact, comment, the lunch and learn's a great, driven date kind of thing. Lets them know what the boundaries are, what you're looking for. And then graphics or pictures, you design a flyer with vivid images, relative to a concept of the flyer, and ones that are eye-catching. You've all seen them. You don't even know where to look sometimes, like, what's going on here? Your logo is an important visual to place on the flyer if you have one, right? Again, this is just straight marketing one-on-one from where I sit. So when you do your flyers, you do not want to get them anything that will compel them to go Google. Okay, so I don't put UFF on anything. I don't need compliance approval on anything, because I'm not mentioning the name of the company, the name of the product, and there's a reason for that, because you don't want people to eliminate you just because they went on and Googled something, right? Or they go straight to UFF. You don't want that. So, but if you have a logo, it's a good time to use it. And then, of course, your contact information. That sounds crazy, but you can't believe, like, we go running so fast in the auction business, we put out ads without you need a checklist, right? So don't forget to add that. How will they contact you unless you have something on there like that? Your flyer is going to be effective if those elements are clearly thought out. They're all used together. And it's important that you also consider those graphics. It's very, very important. So put your design to the test. So you come up with your design, and we're going to get some samples here in a second. So now you made your flyer, how can you test whether yours is going to be effective or not? We can sometimes, especially we're designing ourselves, we're like, yeah, that works, but it may not work. So you need to go out and ask. There are two ways you could do that. First you ask yourself these 4 questions before going to the printer, right? Does your flyer provide the essentials, which is always going to be who, what, when, where, why, and how? Does it present that, right? At a quick glance, does people, if they just very quickly looked at it, would they understand the flyer's message? It's got to be something, that popping headline or a visual, something, right? It's right off the bat that they see it. Have you avoided unnecessary clutter, words or graphics or design elements or whatever? It can't be too busy, because too many people are like me. If it's too much, I don't even look at it, right? And so you got to be careful. Is your message in as few words, as possible, so that it's clear and concise and they pretty much get what you're talking about. So once it goes through all that, the next test is how others react to it. So you could send that out. For instance, if you were in real estate, you might share it with your office or whatever, or you could just print a limited number and get them out there, see if you got any phone calls. So remember, you always have measurable results, right? So it's best to print a limited amount and try it out and kind of test drive it first, unless you're absolutely confident, and just to get a reaction before you spend a ton of money. And that way you can see, is it working? You always have to know if something's working, okay? And you don't toss, thousands of flyers in a trash can because you did one that didn't actually work. And so those are the things: who, what, when, where, why, how. Is it understood a message, avoid unnecessary stuff and few words. So now we get to the flyer Karen sent me. Great job, by the way. But I do want to take a look at it, and based on the things we just talked about, right? So the main focus, and I want commentary here, Karen, I hope that's okay with you. That because this is all to help people, it's not to hurt people. So first of all, is the message clear, right? When you first looked at it, if you didn't know anything, what would get your attention first, I guess is what I'm asking. So how about some feedback from people that are seeing this flyer for the first time? What would get your attention first? Anybody?
The money flying around.
Money flying around, okay.
Photographs,
I'm sorry,
photographs.
photographs, okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay,
Two things that grabbed me was one where you see debt in red, big red letters, and then the seminar lunch. So
okay,
you're looking at that going, oh, hey, this is something I could do during my lunch hour.
right, yeah. Right, I like the header personally. Just as a suggestion, I would definitely shrink the size of the font for the financial planners, accountant, whatever, and blow up the seminar lunch, okay? So, because that's your main message at the time, or it might be complimentary, right? That always gets people when they get free food. So it might be a seminar complimentary lunch or something like that, because that'll be the pop. That's the very first thing, okay? And so that's the first thing you want them to see. That's your main message. You want that to get there so you can tell them everything else. Okay, so then, of course, we talked about this, and I'm not telling you it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I wouldn't put, the Money Max Pro account. I wouldn't put any of that stuff on there, but it's entirely up to you. If you want to keep it on there, that's your call. I would probably put that in the lower right-hand corner, though. I'll just kind of move it down to the lower right-hand corner, because that's a place people will look. So it's just an idea to do that. I don't know, the pictures are great. It's great to be able to show your presenters and all that. But when you look at it, you think, well, who are these people? So you absolutely need to come up with some kind of title, some kind of reference, because you got to get me to want to hear from them. I don't even know what you do. I just know your name, what you look like, right? And so you definitely want to add some fluff in there. So that people say, oh, wow, I want to go hear Charles. Look at his background. Something, just a short few lines or a title or whatever that will compel them, because that's what you're saying. You're like, we're the experts. You need to come hear us. But I don't even know what you're an expert at. And so you want to add something to that. But otherwise, the photos, it's fabulous. I might, if I were you, maybe put the photos, depending on the size, whether you have room or not. But it's always nice to put those coming down a column instead of straight across, but that's just a Lynn thing. That doesn't mean anything. Okay. And I don't know, I really like that. I like the picture of their facility or the venue there. That's really nice. So I'm not sure, but there's too much going on at the bottom there with the money and the glass and the place. And so it could be as simple as shrinking up the size of the venue image. I don't know, but I do know this. If you want to play with these things and shoot it back to me, I'm happy to give you any critique if you think it's helpful at all. But those are the things that stood out for me, is that, first, the message is a little bit hard for me because it's not blaring, right? And so, and the money's a eye catcher. That catches my eye, but I don't even know what it means. So if you didn't have my attention, you don't get my excitement. It just kind of doesn't mean anything to me. Okay. And so anybody else? Karen, you want to add anything or?
I was thinking, because Kathy does the majority of the presentation, that we maybe just need to focus on her and build her up.
That would be a good thing. They just write a little short, little bio there. So like, holy moly, I want to go hear this person. You got to sell them, because again, I mean, sometimes we don't see the forest for the trees. I know y'all and I love you, right? But we don't know what you do. So why would I want to hear from you? So either add the little or feature Kathy. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That catches me way off guard, Karen. You've never said that. So that was a surprise.
Well, I just thought of
I
it
look
because
at
she
this-
was talking
yeah.
about edifying the person.
Right.
And I thought, oh yeah, we should do that for Kathy. Yeah.
Well, if you edify her on the flyer, then of course she's going to edify all you others as you come up to speak.
Sure.
She's going to be edifying. It's, you know, but in terms of it, for the purpose of a visual invite, it would be a good idea. Otherwise, shrink up the pictures a little bit and add a little bit about each person. Mhm.
You know, I've done things like this in the past, and I knew when I created it, it's too much. It's too much blocked out things that have different priorities or messages, and you're competing to figure out where should I focus first. I knew that it wasn't where I wanted it. Here's another thing though. Now, I spend hours making something like this and I send it out. I don't know if anybody even sends it out from there. I don't have any idea. How can we know whether there's success when we don't know how many people ever had it in an email or on a text or opened it or got a phone call? We have no, we don't have this worked out, which is why I thought you're so great to give us feedback, and I'm totally open to it. And I agree with you, the MoneyMax Pro account, the reason that I felt like it was an important thing was because that it is a thing. We have a thing.
Right.
We don't have, you know, I'm not selling books or anything like that. We have a thing for you. And without saying the name of the company, but again, you're right, because they could look that up. And I also agree that the name of the venue, that's the only picture I could find. And with a blue background, that was really limiting unless I went in, I don't have Photoshop, and cut out or found, anyway, I don't know. The fact that on the top, all the different, you know, backgrounds, people could maybe identify, well, yeah, that is me. Yeah, well, I'm a homeowner. I don't know. And the money flying, I really hate money flying. I really hate stacks of money and all that kind of stuff, because that's somewhat MLM and it's somewhat, you know, come on to something. But it also was artistic and it drew things and it drew your eye. I mean, I don't know. What I'd like to see, I think, Lynn, is a successful flyer that hits the high notes, doesn't get convoluted with chaos. And I've got a friend, this is really another thing is key and worth mentioning on our call. She is the Hispanic poster child for her political party being from Venezuela, because she knows what's coming. She can see it. I think I'll just be open and say she is the Hispanic Republican Party of Texas spokesperson. But here's what she does. It's a really clean, simple flyer, but when they get there, the hors d'oeuvres are free. People go and they know that they're not going to go and spend a bunch of money, that they can go and, you know, and hobnob and chit and chat and have something to nibble on. And it becomes a little bit more of an inviting scenario. So like when you're saying a complimentary lunch, have lunch on us, you know, whatever, RSVP, have lunch on us. And so I'm picking up some of this stuff. And I also like that you've got the checklist of things. Does it meet this? Does it meet this? Does it meet this? So I'd love to see if you've created things that kind of hit that list, so we could all learn and then figure out how do we communicate best with our team to say, who did it go to, you know, and who responded? I don't know what else.
Yeah, so, well, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to go over some things. I want you to find boo-boos if there are boo-boos, okay? But
Yeah.
the only way I know, I mean, you know, to track results is to have some system within your team. Or like for me, I have a website that has pipelines. And so I can tell through my own website who opened it, did they look at it, did they read it? And so my pipeline, it condenses that. So I might say, well, it went out to 5,000 people, 900 opened it, right? And then my next email goes out to the 900. And then it just kind of narrows like a pipeline. It's like a sales funnel to see who's still in the pipeline. Other than that, I think you just have to, you know, having, unless you have an automated website kind of thing, you just kind of have to just really work closely with your team and really absolutely enforce. Listen, you don't want to be doing stupid stuff that's not working. Okay, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Life's too short, money's too tight. It's just not making sense.
Lynn, can you share with people what type of company you approach so that you do have, or what system you use that does track how many it went to, how many opened it, and then the next layer of filtration to follow up with them?
Yeah, I mean, I can share mine, but I can tell you that mine has a lot of moving parts to it, and probably it's $200 a month. So, but it's got a lot of moving parts that I need for the classes, the Bible studies, the kind of everything. But
It's your whole world.
yeah, it's a whole world, right? Most of y'all would never need that. Okay. So I would have to do some looking. Maybe one of our realtor friends would say a lot of the, there are some, website template kind of things that, that have that drip email campaign and follow up built in for real estate, and it's not expensive. Mine's that's hefty, if you're not going to use it. But
Yeah,
there are things out there.
absolutely is.
Yeah, so there are things out there that will track
I wonder
it.
if we had it for our team. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. We've got a really good nucleus of people that are basically printed right there. Our pictures, that is the nucleus of our team.
Mhm. Okay, good.
Anyway, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So just in case anybody wants to look at what I use, it's called Kajabi, Kajibi. But it's hefty for most people. So anyway, I'll look and see. And if you don't find somebody else that can tell you, what they use in real estate or whatever, you can go on, take it from there. But if you guys want to work on flyers, if you ever want to run them, it's not like I'm the world's expert, but I do have a good marketing eye. So if you want to do that, then do that. Okay. Here's a flyer. This is one that, frankly, it has worked well for me. It's hokey, it's bold, it's bright, it's crazy, but it actually works well for me. I do a lot of things that look like, where it says accelerated sales and equity, I had to put too many words in, but usually it's like, big news press. So it looks a lot like a newspaper, if you will. But this was it for me. So first thing you see, guys, what do you see?
X's.
Big red X's everywhere, showing what's not, no cost.
Yeah, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
So, so that was a focal point for me. Okay, this is not by the way, this is a call me flyer. It's not a specific date, time, nothing, right? This is a general flyer, right? And so it becoming debt free is so much easier than you ever dreamed possible. No refi, no change to your lifestyle. You can't afford not to learn more. So this is really a shout out to want to get to do the debt free report, to be honest with you. But it's visually letting them know. Can you imagine what it'd be like to be totally debt free from debt? No mortgage, no credit card debt, no car payments, no student loans. So the visual got them there first. What's going on here? And that's by intent for them to question what's going on here. And so, who, what, when, where, why, how. We don't have we don't have when, because there's just call me when you're ready, right? But anyway, that's an example of when you, and listen, hokey works, okay? I don't like hokey any more than you do, but hokey works. And so whatever your visual is, it's got to be something hokey, right? And this is what I use. This is general flyer, just to give you an idea. So you got credit cards, all those things covered on this one. I do have a newsletter as well. I didn't pull that up today, but that newsletter itself is, again, that news headline. It's what's been developed for the Accelerated Equity Partners thing, so that realtors have a monthly news, kind of a financial news report going out. It's really the same structure, looks a little bit more like a newspaper. That's what I use, okay? And then, listen, you don't have to do the heavy lifting. I use real estate realtors, so many, probably most, use a program online called Canva. I've highlighted it there for you. It will help you do. It's got design templates. It's very easy to use. They can turn up the heat in terms of what your flyers look like. What I just showed you back there was in Microsoft Publisher. It wasn't through this design program, but honestly, guys, I think I pay $15 a month for this one, but I also think there's a freebie, that you can only have so many designs going at a time. You'll want to check on that. But you find something that will help you turn up the heat in terms of the graphics and stuff like that. So Canva is the name of what I use. This is an example of what I do at Canvas. It's a whole different story, right? So this is on the left. It's just a local, a call that I do, nationwide call I do, second Tuesday of the month, and a little fluff there. Of course, this was the revival flyer. This is a certificate of completion for the Accelerated Equity Partners, program. So it turns up the heat a little bit, okay? And you can make it as busy or not busy as you want. But I think if you're going to do a lot of these, you might want to consider getting the program. Here's another one. This is
Hey, Lynn,
Yes.
Lynn, before you switch that, the accelerated equity deal, is that a UFF designed program that funnels people?
No, this is the designation for realtors that is in kind of test pilot program now or status now. And so what I've done is for the realtors coming in, they don't go watch those videos. You know, it's this is okay. You're going to be an accelerated equity partner. We talk about interest volume, interest rates. You know, most of the training we get, but I've tweaked it to a real estate audience, and so they get trained to be a accelerated equity partner. Is that what you were
Bingo,
asking?
bam. Yep.
No, it's not at all. You know, of course, the program we're using, you know, is to get them to be agents, right? But the accelerated equity partners is kind of a way for them to help. They'll get the newsletters, they'll get press releases, they'll get this, they'll get that. So it's an ongoing support system for them to be an accelerated equity partner. They get a little logo lapel pin. They get, you know, it's just fluff for realtors. Hopefully to get them on board to really to be a part of helping people all across America. So that's what that is.
You're a machine. You're a machine in different stratospheres and dimensions. You've got the earthly and the heavenly. You got the business and the practical. You got the homeowner, debt owner, and the smart guy on the street. So this is really fascinating to see how one-dimensional I am existing so far. So I'm stepping behind you.
Oh, well, you're very sweet, but you know, you just kind of find your place, right? So you're not limited. You just gotta, you know, find your place and just push that place and add another place. So it's really not, you know, but yeah, I'm not creative out of the box kind of person, but I fail miserably on details, horribly. That's why when we do an event here, Revival or the leadership retreats, I can't do it. I couldn't help my daughter plan her wedding. Okay, I could see it. Here's the deal. Here's how much money. Just figure it out. I'm not the deal. So we all have our, you know, our pluses and minuses. That's my biggest minus. But anyway, that's what that's about. I think I would answer your question. This was I used this. I actually printed postcards here, but the main focus for me was to use it in digital format. You know, so I sent it out to a large list. And so, okay, guys, the question is, what's the main focus? What do you see first?
The house payment.
I see the paid in full stamp over the house.
Yeah, paid in full stamp. So it depends on digitally, you really can't control this, but geographically, you know, with a hard copy, you can. So I would put a house that's a stock free photo, of course, a house that was, you know, a typical architectural look for that area. So if it was Florida, they wouldn't get that. Okay. So whatever, paid in full. But this, of course, was out to the realtors to show them. The upper left-hand corner is that postcard that's sent out to, you know, as a farming tool. So I wrote it down as an example. It was our honor to assist you in the purchase of your new home. Now that the dust has settled, we'd like to show you how you can build equity almost overnight and pay it off in a oh, I got that mixed up. Look at that, in a fraction of the time, and then put the Gardner team. And so I'm trying to show them that could be anybody's team. That's not my team, by the way, but that could be anybody's team. And glad I'm reading it to you because I see the boo-boo. And then this was for, you know, a learn and leverage. So we were, you know, doing that online, not taking them anywhere because it was COVID time, you know. And so in 30 minutes or less, we'll show you, I'm letting them know. So I think it's always important, by the way, to let people know how much time, you know, because those people that are busy, people just think they're busy, will always wonder, I don't want to get stuck in a room for 2 hours, you know. So I always tell them what time, in 30 minutes. If you see the calls that, you know, I do from whatever, real estate to opportunity, I am shooting for a boom, I'm off of there in 30 minutes because that's what I'm telling people. And so in 30 minutes or less, we'll show you what consumers in your area are buzzing about. We'll show you how to brand your real estate business and increase referrals using this revolutionary tool. So again, it's a little bit of a, not takeaway, but kind of a threat. You know, have you heard about the program homeowners in your area are using to pay off their mortgages in a fraction? Sounds like something every real estate professional should know about, right? And so it's this works. Hokey, yeah.
Lynn, can you disseminate that on a text on your cell phone, or does that go by email? How do you use that? Because that is, unlike a phone, it's like a portrait horizontal.
Yeah, well, I convert it to a JPEG and then I can text it or I can, you know, that's the way I put it in an email. But yeah, it comes out pretty good on a text. Mhm.
Thanks.
So anyway, short and sweet for realtors only. And again, is it hokey? Yeah, it's hokey. But I definitely wanted to include the postcard template there so that they could see what that could look like for them. They could have visualized their own name, their own company and that sort of thing. Here was another one that I did for one of our calls. And of course, what's the focal point? House and money, right? So real estate market was booming and but the house and money. And so here is that kind of threat, right? Do you know how to help your clients accelerate their equity outside of buying low and selling high? Don't wait for them to tell you about it. So that's definitely a threat to them, right? Oh my gosh. And so anyway, what do you guys see here? And this was just a short and sweet message. And it worked.
Cash under the house.
Consumers are.
Um,
Go ahead.
I gotta say, the deal with the house, you just made me think about Karen, because her architectural, she can teach you how to build a house, but she could also teach you how to, you know, build wealth, whatever. I mean, I don't know the answer to that, but she's got that combination.
There you go.
And so does Patrick, yeah.
Patrick, yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
I can
Design a
tackle
house,
that.
design your future. What's that?
I said, I can tackle that.
Yes, yes. Oh man, this is perfect. You can tackle that, and Karen can design your future, and Patrick can, you know, construct your whatever, your escape plan or your whatever. I mean, this is all, and I can report on all of them. Okay, I got it.
You can report on the sunny days coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The great
See blue skies and
weather
silver
ahead.
linings.
that's right.
Okay, this is good.
I'm working on one now. I hope I don't forget to share it with y'all, but the message, the main message is, you know, the teaser, if you will, is 2 houses for the price of 1. And so it goes over the volume thing and the whole idea as well. You know, if you didn't spend that in the volume, then you could spend that on another house. So the teaser is how would you like to have 2 houses for the price of 1? So that's a catcher, right? Catcher.
Buy one,
Yes,
get one free.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 2 for the
Yeah.
Well, it's the other thing about like this ad, the other thing kind of grabs you right away is where it says consumers are buzzing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what consumers and buzzing about what?
Right.
You know, so I mean, it's something that kind of grabs you right away so that you're asking questions, you're
Right.
thinking about, you know, what's out there. You're looking for more information in the ad itself. So
Right. You are. And that's that threat, right? They're buzzing. You should be too. And that's, by the way, a visual. That's why it's squiggly. You know, it's not just boxed in because it catches your eye. Right. And so, yeah, everything's got a little, you know, message behind it. This has nothing to do with anything, but just showing you more of that news. This was called Next Generation News. It was more about health and wellness, you know, for our young children and how they're being impacted. And so it worked really well. I mean, it looks very busy over here, but, you know, I tell you the most compelling thing about this one is actually the image. You're talking about children, and yet in this picture, it's almost like that child is fading away, right? Very abstract kind of look. So it makes people read warning. It's a warning about your children. So that worked. This is really incredibly simple, right? But this is, you know, just about me, you know, giving you a workshop on how to build wealth without a nest egg. So the important thing here, or the focal point here in my world, this is was sent out to many people I've worked with, real estate people that know me to be a speaker trainer. And so the main focus there was me and where I come from. And so very, very simple, trying to blend the colors in, and that's it. So there we go. Stop sharing the screen. So there we go. We got a few people left. It's been a long call. I hope it's been beneficial. Anything before we close out?
This was really helpful. Thank you.
Good, Karen. Thank you for
Very
that.
much, thank you.
Karen said maybe we could talk about it one week, and I thought, what a great idea. And I have taught that whole
Yeah.
master the invite for years, so I just pulled that up and then incorporated it. But thank you, Karen, for prompting that. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Lynn, for really putting it out there. So it does suddenly, articulate certain things and it makes you think about, whoa, I wonder what that would look like if I did this, and so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you tackled it really well. Right, Charles?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You got me thinking with all of that stuff. So, I've done a lot of graphic design,
Yes.
mostly directional signage, but I have done flyers and stuff. So, anyway,
Sometimes it's just a matter of that reminder.
Yeah.
Like Kathy said the same thing. I've done a lot of this, right?
Yeah.
And we just have to sometimes have that reminder of, okay, wait a minute. Let's rethink this thing and get it out there. So that's,
Yeah, because when you're under the gun and you only have a certain amount of time and you want to get something out and then you're starting over all over again. My goal, Lynn, was to have one flyer that we just changed the date so that it was real, so people would recognize, oh yeah, I wanted to go to that. Oh yeah, so that was my goal.
that is a very good goal because you're branding
Yeah.
that event. Absolutely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe y'all could work toward that and have a template, and then whoever can put their name and just change the name.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great idea.
Because if one of them wants to have a specifically for them, like let's just say Karen's got a group of architects and she knows that she's going to, or her Rotary Club, or Charles has got something that, because he was the president of the alumni for the NFL for years, maybe he, just changes it that way, and that there is a portion of it that's interacting for their branding.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a great thing if y'all can come together on that template. It makes it really easy for them to plug in their stuff or plug in a different date. Yep. And it's brand
Yeah.
new. Great.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
All right. What a wonderful support you are to us, Lynn. Thank you.